Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
We have seen what the Packers have been able to do with Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon essentially as your top two. Now you got Hobbs coming in. So, I mean, that does improve it just by bringing in Hobbs. But you bring back Jaire, and yes, the ceiling definitely goes up higher. There's no question about it. And with this whole, I don't know what we want to call it, drama, not back and forth. I mean, this goes back to the combine, right? Actually, a little bit earlier, it goes back to locker room cleanup. Day after. When you had reporters there, it was a day after the playoff loss to the Eagles. And, people are asking questions. Jaire was there. Jaire said he wasn't answering any questions. And he even said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, or I'm going to be on the team next year. So it kind of started off that way. It's like, oh, yeah, Jaire's out. Kind of out. And then you hear Gutey's comments at the combine. It pretty much painted the picture of he's out. If they truly are, excuse me, I've been shutting the mic off because I got a tickle in my throat, still trying to get the voice back here. But if they truly are in a reconciliation mode where, all right, they're maybe coming back to the table and they're possibly working towards a resolution where Jaire is coming back, I got to give a lot of credit to Brian Gutekunst in this situation, because I feel like a lot of general managers or a lot of teams would have moved on at this point. Would have maybe just said, you know what, we'll take the hit. We're going to release him. Can't get anything at draft cap, or we can't get a trade value that we feel like is worth it for him. We're not going to panic. We're not going to rush this thing. Because I feel like a lot of teams would rush it if they were in this situation. Everything else plays out. You have a corner who's been hurt a lot. There's been some discord between him and the coaching staff. Coaching staff thought he would be able to play. Jaire's like, no, can't. That blah, blah, blah. We've gone through that how many times? And then the whole locker room clean-out thing. And then you have a general manager pretty much insinuating he wasn't going to be back. And now we're at a point where, hey, maybe they're actually talking where he is coming back. I give credit to Gutey for being patient. And not like, all right, let's just get the guy out of here. Let's see if we can get a trade for him. And if we can't, we'll just cut him and move on from there and take our salary cap hit and such. Now we're actually talking to the point where he's possibly coming back for the season. And at least on the field, that's a bonus, I think, for Green Bay. When you talk about talent-wise and just the position group, adding Jaire to that position group is a major improvement for the defense. No question about it. Yes, there's other outside stuff, or, you kind of wonder, like, okay, attitude or whatever. But I'm talking straight-up football. And as long as his teammates still love the guy, respect the guy, go to battle for the guy, have his back and such, I think that's a big bonus in that. I mean, we heard Jordan Love with his ringing endorsements of him. He's still working out. Jaire's still working out apparently with Xavier McKinney and such. So I give credit to, if this does work out to where Jaire is still suited up with Green Bay this season, I got to give credit to Gutey for not being quick to pull the trigger and moving on from him. And not just settling for releasing him, or maybe a team offered a 7th-round pick. And Gutey's like, nah, he's worth more than that. I give him credit, because I feel like a lot of other teams would have pushed that panic button, or would have gotten a little antsy and would have just said, let's just hurry up and move on and And that way we're not talking about it anymore, or that way it's not, a topic of conversation every day, every couple days, every week. Let's just cut the ties and move on. I give Gutey credit for being patient, because I don't think a lot of other teams or a lot of other general managers would have been. So I think he gets a tip of the cap for that if it works out that way. Or maybe next week he's traded, but maybe it's traded for a high pick in 2026. Who knows? But I think Gutey's playing it right now. I think he's playing it right. There's no timeline or there's no deadline where you have to move on from him. So something like triggers, like, if they don't trade him by June 1st, then he's going to get this big, cap hit for this year or anything like that. It's nothing like that there's like no deadline for Green Bay. Like, okay, we got to get rid of him right away before we get charged this. I think he's playing it right, and that's a kudos to him. Now, if it was more of a disgruntled type of thing, maybe. But again, this is a general manager that went through the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Right? I mean, that was, 4 years ago this weekend? Kentucky Derby weekend? Well, it was the draft and then the Kentucky Derby where, Mike Tirico's trying to talk to Aaron about, hey, do you want to come back to Green Bay or not? I mean, this is a general manager that went through that and was able and held his ground and stood his ground, dug in. It's like, no, dude, if you're going to play football, you're going to play football for us. And I think if you're a fan who has, over the years, complained about, players not honoring contracts or, anything like that, I think you got to appreciate the approach that Gutey has had, 4 years ago with Rodgers, and maybe the approach he's having right now with Jaire Alexander, being like, hey, dude, okay, we'll look at trading you. That option's still on the table, but we have a certain value in mind for you. And if I don't get that deal, maybe it's time to come back and play another year under the contract you signed. Now, I go back to Albert Breer, when Albert Breer said, if he's back, might be a little bit of an adjustment with incentives. I don't think Jaire would want that. This is just me, because I think Jaire would rather have the more of the guaranteed thing. Now, the carrot is, but Jaire, you could earn more money. Dangle the carrot in front. You can earn more. Initially, yeah. It looks like you're making less. But you play. And I think a lot of it would probably be active game incentives. If you're active for this amount of games, you're going to get another bonus. Because if that was the issue, if that was the main issue from last year, where it was coaches thought he could play, Jaire said, no, not ready. If there was that discord between the two, then maybe that's where that incentive is. Like, okay, here's the carrot, Jaire. You play 10 games, you get a bonus. You play 11 games, you get another bonus. You play 14 games, you get a bonus. Dude, if you play the whole season, you get a big bonus, where it adds up that you potentially could make more. And I think Green Bay would be okay with that, paying him a little bit more, if that meant you got like an all-pro version of Jaire Alexander for a single season. If you got Jaire Alexander for 17 regular season games, and you had to pay maybe a little bit more, but you got him for 17 games, and he was balling out, like having just a fantastic year, I don't think Green Bay would have a problem shelling out just a couple $1,000,000 more for that. But I think the big hang-up might be, is Jaire willing to, because it's a risk, right? It's a risk on his part. It's a risk on Jaire's part to maybe initially like, all right, I'll take less in my base or whatever it is. I'll take less money right now. Because it's not a guarantee he's going to hit those incentives. Knock on wood, he suits up week 1, he tears the ACL, he's done. You hate to think that, but that's the possibility. That's the risk. When do you balance the risk-reward part of it? So it's going to be kind of fascinating to watch this all play out. But I, as a fan, I would love 2-3 back. I'd love 2-3 back. put him into that cornerback room with that depth there, then I think let's go. Or as Russell Wilson would say, let's ride. Because then I think you're looking at this, I'm like, all right, you just boosted up the level a little bit. That's like super boost there. You got Jaire. Okay, you got your outside corner, and then you can do this with Hobbs and Valentine and Nixon, and then that, and you got your depth there. Because right now, I still believe corner is the biggest depth issue, like question marks surrounding it. Especially when you look at, okay, who's your number one, like, outside receiver? I know Keyshawn thinks he can be. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And I think it would just be better for both parties. But I do got to give a credit to Gutey for the way he is handling, for the way that he is handling this situation. We'll see it all play out. I know they had some guys coming into town for some off-season such, but there wasn't any pictures of Jaire there. But Jaire was apparently, before all that, participating in the virtual stuff. So I don't know if, he's got like a $700,000 incentive to show up for these off-season stuff. I'm sure that maybe his team, his agent, the Packers are in communication about whether, to be there or not. I don't know. Maybe he is there, but the Packers aren't releasing those photos. That could be as simple as that, too. Like, ooh, what's going on here? But the rookies are in town for a little rookie mini camp in Green Bay this weekend. You probably saw the team posting some of the photos out there and such. Who is the rookie? I don't think we asked this earlier in the week, but who is the rookie that? And don't put Matthew Golden. Let's take Matthew Golden out because it's always easy to maybe pick the first rounder. So let's take Matthew Golden out of this question. But who's the rookie that you're like, I'm really intrigued about? Like, I'm kind of excited to maybe see. Like, maybe that's the hidden gem, or that's the, because after round one, maybe those guys, especially if you're not maybe a very early day 2 pick in round 2. But who's that rookie outside of Matthew Golden that you're like, ooh, I'm really intrigued with that? Because it feels like there's always one every year. There's always a rookie, like day 2, day 3, where you hear fans like, ooh, I like that one. I'm intrigued with that one. Like Romeo Doubs was that guy a few years ago when he was drafted day 3. Like, ooh, that was a good one. That was a good pick. I think that he's got a chance to do something. So when you look at it, is it Savion Williams? Is it Sorrell? I think he's probably going to be an instant fan favorite, the defensive end out of Texas. Colin Oliver, Warren Brinson. Maybe you go 7th round with the corner Micah Robinson or John Williams, the tackle. The first, second round pick for the Packers, Anthony Belton, the offensive lineman. But who is your rookie? They're like, ooh, I think they got a steal at that one. Or I'm really intrigued with him. I mentioned Sorrell as being the fan favorite, but I think you see some people kind of talking about Oliver. Oliver to me is the intriguing one because I'm just really intrigued like how they're going to utilize him within this defense. And a lot of it is because of his size. Because he's like a tweener. He's between a linebacker and a defensive end. I mean, he's 6'2", 240. You're like, well, that's a linebacker size. But he's more effective as a defensive end, or he's more effective as a pass rusher, as an edge rusher. So he's got that unique set of skills, to quote Liam Neeson. So to me, he's the most intriguing one because I'm really intrigued to see how Jeff Hafley and his defensive staff utilize him. I think Savion Williams is a chess piece. As long as Matt LaFleur uses that chess piece properly, I think he could have an effect on this offense. But those are the two guys that I'm like, ooh. You're kind of like rubbing your chin and you're thinking about, all right, I'm envisioning this. with this guy. That's kind of where I'm at with this rookie class. So when I saw Colin Oliver, I'm like, okay, they're going to do linebacker or Ed, try to put him at defensive end. But, I mean, it's a little small to play a 4-3 defensive end. But I think initially he's going to be your guy that you're bringing out just to get after the dang quarterback. And that's exactly what this team needs, is somebody whose sole job and the best thing that he can do is get after the quarterback, and that's what Oliver does. But how are they going to employ that? How are they going to utilize that with him? That's the intriguing part.